The mourning over 15 lives lost in this tiny town has only begun to unfurl. Reality has hit hard for Gaylord Burgess, who resides here. His wife and daughter, spared in last year's tornado, were not as lucky this time. Relatives say the coping is tough.
He knew what happened as soon as it happened, and he drove out there, and he didn't go on down, but he knew what happened.
The town is deserted today. Families are at home waiting for official word that their loved ones are gone.
Some of it's been kind of shocking because I just heard some names that I didn't know of for sure. I knew they was, gone, but I didn't know, positive.
Yeah, you're talking about the Murrays, and they're not involved at all.
Reassurance from the town pastor comes as a warm welcome to some.
They're not going to sleep tonight. They'll drink coffee and...
While others take care of spiritual needs, physical nourishment is handled by the ladies of the church. They've seen tragedy before when a killer tornado roared through their town last year.
We always get up and go on, and we will again. Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about it.
The townspeople are down, but they're not out. The community is rich in love and friendship, and they say that's enough to get them through. Ann Nyberg, News 4.
It's a considerable amount of details, but I think that it's been pretty well laid out. The problem is that there hasn't been a good level of communication of what you need to establish before you show up in the building. Lots of questions that people don't really have answers for.
But I also tell him that that subject never comes up unless somebody else asks me. And I want to be involved in the Senate race to deter, do what's responsible, that's okay. I go back to the tax raise we had last year, the great furor that it had, and I can understand that. But when the chips were down and the people counted noses, in the final analysis they said we preferred that tax increase to have had a devastating effect upon state government. I think that's what will happen today and tomorrow in the state of Oklahoma. That the chips are down and the people have said,
Bigler Job Stouffer came to court wearing the same poker face he had worn throughout his trial. An Oklahoma County court jury had just convicted him of murdering Putnam City schoolteacher Linda Reeves. Prosecutors say that Stouffer killed Reeves and wounded her boyfriend Doug Evans last January. After 2 hours of deliberation, the jurors announced they had reached a unanimous verdict.
Having heretofore found the defendant, Bigler Job Stouffer II, guilty of murder in the first degree, fix his punishment at death.
Stouffer showed no emotion over his death date. The man he had shot 3 times was more expressive. Doug Evans said he thought his dead girlfriend had finally gotten the justice she deserved.
I think we've seen justice done. It's the closest thing we can see to justice for Linda. We can't get her back, so we got justice.
Earlier, Bud Stouffer had told the jury that he shot Evans in self-defense after Evans pulled a pistol on him.
Mr. Stouffer, how do you feel about getting the death penalty?
But the newly convicted killer had nothing to say as he left the courtroom for the final time. Scott Wallace, News 4 at the Oklahoma County Courthouse.
Okay, pull up, sir, please.
Previous to 3 months ago, I never heard of ecstasy.
It feels like a mind orgasm.
It's just the best feeling in the world.
You're at ease, you're relaxed.
Every song is your favorite song. Every person is your best friend.
We just need to really search our lives and say, you know, what that could have been me. And am I really ready to meet my maker? Have I done what I'm supposed to do to step into eternity?
So pretty, yes you are.
I don't really think about people in other lands and how they have to watch what they say and how they act and things. I take a lot of things for granted.
Fun is the priority on the 4th, but it's a thoughtful celebration, a time to mix pleasure with patriotism.
I guess with the past hostage crisis that I just feel grateful that I live here in the United States and don't have to suffer like the people do over there.
This is the kind of country where you can, you have the freedom to express yourself in any way or not express yourself.
Yeah, pretty snake.
This is certainly expression, but a stroll around Lake Hefner with a pet snake may not be your idea of a fun 4th. There are more conventional ways to say Happy Birthday, America. And everybody, it seems, found their own way to say that today. Problems and worries seemed a little distant. Bosses and telephones were put on hold. Freedom may be taken for granted sometimes, but on the 4th, it's hard not to see it in action. It's hard not to feel good.
Yeah, all the kids, they having fun, and we didn't get too many firecrackers this year because they are a little dangerous, but other than that, they having a good time. Ladies are having a good time, everybody having a good time.
And there's something about the finale of every 4th that spells out freedom. Maybe it's the rocket's red glare or bombs bursting in air. Or maybe it's just knowing that we'll see the same celebration in the sky next year because we're free. Dan Slocum, News 4.
Shortly after midnight Wednesday, police rushed this residence in Oklahoma City. Inside, they arrested 19-year-old Billy Ray Fox. They also found a 16-gauge shotgun believed to be one of the murder weapons used in the triple homicide. Police also made a trip to this Britton Road apartment complex. Here, they arrested 20-year-old Mark Fowler. Fowler has served time for oral sodomy charges. This time, he's wanted on a murder complaint. Today, the two were brought to the Oklahoma County Courthouse to face formal arraignment. Both face 3 counts of murder 1, in addition to 1 count of robbery with a firearm. District Attorney Bob Macy is asking for the death penalty.
I've been in this business 28 years, and I have never seen a worse crime scene. I have seen one victim hurt worse, but walking into that room looked very much like the pictures of the Sirloin Stockade, and as I said in my career, that's the worst crime scene that I've seen.
Officials say the two men are friends, and they believe they borrowed the shotgun from another acquaintance. Investigators found 2 empty shotgun shells at the scene, and they theorize after 2 of the men were shot, 27-year-old John Barrier of Edmond jumped up and struggled with the 2 men, but was eventually stabbed to death. Police are still working on the robbery motive, but they are not ruling out revenge as a possibility. Fox is a former employee of IGA. Macy said the robbers were apparently ready to kill before they went to the store. The preliminary hearing is set for August 1st. Kevin Ogle, News 4 at the Oklahoma County Courthouse.
Is that a Coors?
Yeah.
I need a Coors, Rick.
No more can you get 2 drinks for the price of 1 here at Harry's Oyster Bar, but you can get 1 drink with 2 shots of liquor. The price is a quarter higher than it used to be, but the special goes on all the time. Management calls it a good deal for the customer. They say it's legal, and it just may pay off.
Well, I've already seen in the first 3 days or 4 days of this deal that we have people coming in at a more steady pace. They don't feel like they have to get here before 7 or after 10:30. So our business has been steady all through the night.
The new larger drinks can be found at other clubs and restaurants in Oklahoma City, although not all are doing it. And there is customer reaction.
I just rather have the 2 separate glasses. I don't like all the booze in one glass.
There are other customers who like the new deal. Whether or not it will be a profitable system for the clubs that offer it remains to be seen. The owners are optimistic. Dan Slocum, News 4.
Anyone can learn to do this. It's really a sport for anyone, young, old. Each jump you learn something, and then on the next jump you can use it. So each time you're a little better at it. It's sort of like driving a car when you first start driving. And then after you've been driving for 10 years, now you jump in your car and just drive right on down the street.
Of course, again, there is a little apprehension because here you are, you're throwing your perfectly good body out of a perfectly good airplane. So you're doing something that's very unnatural for you.
It's like flying. Everybody says like flying because that's what you're doing. You're flying on air, 120 miles an hour, and you can actually move your body and make it go anywhere you want it to go.
anyone can learn to do this. It's really a sport for anyone.
One of the most fun things you can do is catch a girl in free fall at 120 miles an hour straight down and kiss her. It's not much of a kiss, but it's a lot of fun.
The D&L Quick Stop near Lindsay, Oklahoma. It's known as a quiet, laid-back country store. But the atmosphere has changed now. The D&L is the scene of a homicide. Saturday night after 10:30, someone put a small-caliber slug through the chest of clerk Royce Dale Stroud. His body was found early Sunday morning by a customer. Today, the McLean County Sheriff was busy asking questions and checking his leads, but so far he's come up with nothing. He hasn't issued any warrants. The people who work at D&L are sad and scared. They know it could have been them Saturday night, and they also know they lost a friend.
This shouldn't have happened. I mean, they could have got what they wanted in there. They didn't have to kill him. He was a special friend.
The search for the person or persons responsible for the killing will continue, but it will be no easy task. Clues are hard to come by right now. Meanwhile, the friends and family of Roy Stroud will continue to grieve and worry about violent crime creeping into their rural community. Kevin Ogle, News 4, near Lindsay.
Plans are just Band-Aid approach like we've done in the past. Or just
Slaughter, no. Greaser, Hale,
I think that the legislature overall took a lot of heat on the issue, Stephanie, and I'm not going to say that some of it's not justified, but it's simply among House members is not as popular.
Getting out the hose and watering the lawn signals the start of another long, hot Oklahoma summer. But for some residents in Oklahoma City, this is the first summer they've had enough water to do even this common summer job. Low water pressure turned off the sprinklers across the northwest part of town last summer. But this year, residents say the water pressure is normal, and that's brought sighs of relief in the neighborhood.
Wonderful. You can plan an evening meal without going into, as much as fixing iced tea and have no water or something like that. It's just wonderful to know it's going to be there and that we don't have to worry about it.
A new water tower and pumping station increased the water flow this year. City officials put the system online after a deluge of water pressure complaints. Now they say even this facility can't guarantee a trouble-free summer.
Extended long hot periods without rain, some major line breaks, and we could be into a real problem situation just literally overnight.
So with the hottest days of summer still ahead, no one really knows whether improvements to the water system will prevent a repeat of last year's water shortage. Northwest residents say they'll just wait and see how long they can enjoy their first wet summer. Bob Donaldson, News 4.
There were more curiosity seekers and reporters than disgruntled depositors lined up outside the Crossroads State Bank yesterday. Inside, liquidators wasted little time in removing the state charter from the wall. At 3 o'clock, State Banking Commissioner Robert Ampe closed the lending institution that he characterized as the state's longest-running problem bank. This was the 6th Oklahoma bank to close this year. The FDIC spent the night here calculating the assets of one of Oklahoma City's smallest lenders. While the FDIC is not finished checking the books, it appears a high concentration of bad real estate loans helped push this small bank over the edge. Of the 1,950 depositors, a good portion of those customers had commercial accounts. Many of the stores in this mall used Crossroads State to make their nightly deposits. The owner of this optical shop had used the bank since it opened. But for Sam Edwards, the closing will be an inconvenience, not a hardship.
Well, I used it. I've used it since I came out here 5 years, and I don't have that much in it to really break me, so I'm sorry to see it close. It's handy.
I guess that's all I can do.
They don't seem to notice the heat as much, and you'll see a lot of elderly people who at 100 degrees might be wearing a sweater or a light jacket or something like that. So they are actually accumulating heat and may be overcome by heat exhaustion or heat stroke before they know it.
$1,068.
Wonderful. Should we have a pizza party?
Oh. Can you get a good one?
10.
Oh.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that.
She did make that 10. I didn't ever want her to make that much.
It makes more of a game out of committing crimes to some of these individuals rather than the serious nature that it is, and that we're going to play foot race games with certain individuals that here before probably were reluctant to run from us.
There's no other industry in the United States that pays more tax than the oil and gas industry. I think that fact has not been heard in Washington, D.C., and it needs to be heard. I have the facts to back that up.
There was a tremendous amount of smoke. I couldn't see my hand in front of my face, and it was from the ceiling to the floor, just filled with smoke. several other officers arrived on the scene. They came up there with me. We were yelling out, trying to find out if there's anybody in any of the rooms. We couldn't get past the first, because of the smoke, we couldn't get past the very first rooms up there.
No, as I understand it, they did bring him back to Oklahoma Memorial Hospital here in Oklahoma City for some reconstructive and plastic surgery on the wound. I believe it did sever an artery in his neck.
'We have been informed that we will enforce it strictly, and it is up to a $100 fine for each violation. So I think the people need to take it seriously and know that we do have a problem.
Two years ago, the Heisman Square Shopping Center was a going concern. Retail space was at a premium and the rents were good. But today, two new strip centers have popped up at the same intersection, and the anchor tenant at the Heisman is left, while the competition across the street has attracted a big-name grocery store. Like a lot of real estate companies, Pepco Incorporated is seeing hard times. The First National Bank of Oklahoma City has started foreclosure on this shopping center, and Pepco has other properties that face similar problems. Patrick Powers, Chief Executive Officer at Pepco, says the company's $130 million worth of retail office and residential properties just don't generate the cash that they used to. Rents are down in this depressed market, and he hopes creditors will be willing to wait out these hard times.
As far as the creditor lawsuits on the given partnership projects that we have, the fact that rents have decreased mean that there is less cash flow in and less cash flow in to service the obligations of that particular partnership.
Powers expects banks will eventually modify foreclosure policies toward real estate companies in general, especially now in this glutted market.
What the banker has to realize is that although we may only be able to get $6.80 rents now, what are we going to get a year or 2 or 3 years down the road, and will that be enough to compensate them for the amount that they have to defer to the future?
Pepco Incorporated will attempt to work out terms to service the debt on their properties in foreclosure. Meanwhile, officials at First Oklahoma Bank Corporation, the parent company of First National Bank, will not discuss any foreclosure or the events that prompted them to file the $2.3 million suit against Pepco. In Norman, Kurt Autry, News 4.